Now that you have your jewelry show ready, I want to let you in on a little secret. You are going to run into ladies at your jewelry shows, either the hostess or guests or even referrals, that are going to be interested in doing what you do. They probably won't let you know in a very easy way for you to decipher it, so I'm going to let you in on little secrets as we go through this. Number one, you need to be prepared so that when you have people that are curious, you have things to give to them and you know what to do. So we want to get you set up with that. So first, in preparation, we already have the little We Are Premier brochures that you got in your Premier Boutique box, and hopefully you've already got them labeled. And I would love to share with you just a little label that has a 14-minute OP call number on it. And you can put that label right on the front of that brochure, and you're set to hand out curiosity packets at your show. That will be in the email that you get from your sponsor that, well, you probably have already looked at it because it's how you got on this video. The second thing you're going to want is the full marketing plan brochure, the full handout that gives all of the information. This is like a teaser, and this is the real deal. This is the Cliff Notes, this is the full novel. All right, lastly, I want to make sure you have some way to keep track of the people that you share Premier with. So I've also shared with you just a simple little contract tracker. You may want to keep track of something like this on your phone in some other way, but just for simplicity and paper, this is easy, where you can keep track of this person took the information about being a jeweler, and that's what that little H and J is for. This person said, I want to have a home show, and you didn't get them dated, so you circle, okay, this is a hostess prospect, or maybe you're making a chicken list. So that's what this is intended to be. But you can keep track of those contacts that took information about what it takes to become a jewelry lady. Circle the J. Give yourself some notes here on how you met her and when, and then you can keep track of where you're at in this follow-up process. So now you're prepared. Next, we want to get the information to the girls that are curious. Now, who do you think might be curious about your business? Well, your hostess is your number one prospect, and I'll tell you why. She was already in love with the jewelry. She's already trusting you enough to invite you into her home and meet her family and friends, and she already loves the hostess plan and part of what she knows about Premier. So if we add that last little information that she could be making 50% gross profit on everything she sells, and that's from day one, you may be surprised how many of your hostesses would actually love to make their show into a training show. So this is something that I am always wanting to be diligent about, and that is making sure that the ladies that have shows with me have the information about Premier before their jewelry show. I don't want them to get to their jewelry show, get 3 or 4 bookings, have a $600 jewelry show, they're ecstatic, and then they say, can I do this? And now you need to do another jewelry show to do as their training show, when that should have been her training show. Now sometimes they just won't until after their show, and you would need to do another training show. But let's try to avoid that. Let's try to help them use their show as their training show. So when I am working through hostess coaching with my hostess, and this is the Successful Jewelry Show track that I'll also have in your email, and you may have already looked at this. We are just going to do parts of this right now. We've already found out our hostess's contact information, and we've already coached her. We've already done those in other videos. But then immediately I want to send her the information about the Premier opportunity. So I do send her a phone call, and I send her a save the date, and then we want to follow up here and find out, what did you think about the information? Do you have questions? And would you like to turn this into your training show? So those are things that are on your Successful Show tracker too, to help you remember. Share this with your hostess. Get it in front of her. Now, if you are able to face-to-face coach, I would highly suggest sharing the marketing plan with her then. But if you're not able to, The phone call opportunity information is very simple. It's 14 minutes long. The number I use is actually Randy and I sharing the Premier opportunity so that they have also a male voice and a male perspective in case they want to have their husband or boyfriend or fiance, significant other listen into. Just helps to have a male voice. So we have that set up, and again, that should be on the email that you just got from your sponsor to get you to this video. So that right now is actually how I'm usually sharing with my hostesses, is getting them that information. And then within 24 to 48 hours, I follow up with her. We'll get back to that. The second group of people besides your hostess that are going to be curious about your business are guests at your show. You might hear them say something like, wow, is all this jewelry yours? Or how long have you been doing this? Are you doing well at it? Just anything that kind of sounds like they're chatting with you and finding out how you're doing. I want you to automatically have a little buzzer that goes off in the back of your head that says she might be curious about Premier for herself. She's just not going to come out and say, I'm really curious about doing this, or hey, sign me up, I want to do it too. If that happens, mark it down, it was your one and only. But most of the time, they're just going to ask you questions. You might also just notice someone that came early and she's really checking you out and talking to you. Also, if someone stays late and kind of watches you a little bit after the show's over as you're packing up, she stays to offer to help you with your jewelry out to the car, let her. Ask her questions about herself. You're also going to find out things about them because your jewelry show is going to include that opening statement and the teaser information about the Premier business. You're going to do a great sponsoring activity, and your guest surveys are going to be an excellent source of information about the ladies that are curious, that want to hear more. Okay, so all of those places are going to begin to gather prospective jewelry ladies, prospects for your business. Keep track of them so that you can keep up with them and follow up. Make sure they have the information, and then follow up and close. All right, the last group of people outside of your home shows now that you're going to find might be curious about what you do, might be interested in your Premier business opportunity, are just warm market or lifestyle contacts. So this could be anyone from your family, your close friends. In fact, those are excellent people to make sure as you're getting started, they hear all about Premier. They're great people to set up practice opportunity presentations with, one-on-ones we call them, when you sit down with one other person and share the business with them. Your sponsor should actually be setting up a couple of practice ones with you so that she can show you how to share the information. Something very important, and I want you to write this in your notes. From the time someone becomes curious about Premier, we need to get the information in front of them within 24 to 48 hours. Think about prospects like milk products. Dairy products spoil if they're not refrigerated, right? Same thing with prospects. If we don't get that information to them right away, they might say something to someone else who will tell them some story about someone else that was in another direct sales company, or they'll tell them that never works, or they just might start doubting themselves. We as women can do that. Tell ourselves it won't work, they can't do it, and talk themselves out of it before they ever even hear the information. It's okay if they decide no. That is okay if they listen and decide, no, this isn't for me. But I do want them to hear the information and have it. So we want to get the information in front of them within 24 to 48 hours. That's why I love these calls, because we can do that immediately. They can listen on their way home. All right, so you're out and about in family contacts. Share with all of your family and friends what you're doing. Use those as your practice one-on-ones that you do with your sponsor. And in fact, there's a third great way that you can share Premier. You can invite them to a local training meeting where there's an opportunity presentation, or to an information meeting that might be held in your area. In our area, every Tuesday night, most Tuesday nights, we're at Panera Bread on Burkhart and Evansville, and we call it Java and Jewels at 6:30. Any guests that are there, we're just going to share the marketing plan with them and help you to share it, follow up, and close. It's a wonderful, wonderful way to share the business. But remember, 24 to 48 hours. So if you meet someone on Wednesday, don't wait till the next Tuesday to invite them to Java and Jewels, or to the next third Tuesday to invite them to training. Get the information in front of them. You could use that as part of your follow-up. With people out and about, I love this that we just heard at our national rally. When you're just chatting with maybe a sales associate, a waitress, anything like that, out and about, you can ask them 3 simple questions. How simple is this? Oh, do you work here full-time or part-time? Wonderful. Do you love your job? Most of the time, they're not going to say yes there. Just saying. Sometimes they do. Regardless, the last question is, would you be open to some new opportunities? What a great way to have this tucked in your purse and pull it out and say, hey, listen to what I just started doing. This is a great opportunity. I've already had a jewelry show and made $250 in one night. That'll blow their mind. Even if you made $100 in one night, they're going to be pretty impressed, because most people are not making $100 in an evening. But make sure that you then get their contact information, because just handing these out is like standing on a building and tossing them over the edge. Maybe someone will call you back, but most likely they won't. You need to get their information. And so I just grabbed my phone and, hey, what's your cell phone number? So I can just check with you and see what questions you might have after that. And I'm either handing them my cell phone to put it in there or putting it in myself. But that's a great way anymore to make sure that we get their contact information so we can follow up. So now you have some ladies that are on that contact tracker. They've got the information, or you're going to share the information with them. There are, again, 3 different ways you can get that information in front of them. There's a million, but 3 main ones. One is to use one of the opportunity phone calls or YouTube videos. There's some of those floating around out there too. Find what works for you and use that and share the marketing plan with people this way so they can share it immediately. You can also meet with them one-on-one and share it face-to-face, or even do a one-on-one over the phone or over Skype or FaceTime. You can do that with your sponsor until you get comfortable with that. And the third way is to invite them to an opportunity presentation, or to invite them to training to hear an opportunity presentation in a large group. Okay, they have now heard about it. Now it's time to follow up. So I love to just ask questions. I want to know what they think. I want to know how curious they are. I want to know what the questions are, what the reservations are, what they're excited about. So one of my favorite follow-up questions is, so tell me, did you have any questions? Isn't that simple? And let them talk. Answer their questions for them, and be honest. If you don't know, say, I'm not sure about that. That's a great question. I'll check with my sponsor and get back with you. Once you've answered all their questions, then I love to ask, so on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 is, oh, Sarah, I could never see myself doing anything like this. And 10 is, oh my gosh, I would love to get started immediately, if not sooner. And you can't tell me a 5. Just, that doesn't tell me anything. So tell me your number, but you can't use 5. And then when they tell me their number, if it's anything 4 or above, you really do have a hot prospect. I didn't used to think a 4 was, but 4 is. 4 is just a nervous prospect. But anything 4 and above, and you have a hot prospect. So you need to continue and ask them this next question. What has you excited enough to be a 7, to be a 9? And have her tell you the positive things that she loves about Premier. After you've heard those things, now you have what basically her focus is going to be. If she says she loves the 50%, if she loves the jewelry, if she loves the hostess plan, whatever it is, make sure you take note of that. Then, what is it that keeps you from being a 10? Well, you're going to hear almost immediately, most of the time, I just don't have the money to get started. Not a problem. I understand that. We have lots of options. But let me ask you this. If there were no investment at all, would you be ready to get started? Okay, so take the money off the table and find out if there's anything else. Once you have done that, you more than likely will find out what their real reason is. Because as my executive director, Sandy Conway, has said over and over, if they needed to find $1,000 in order to fix their air conditioner in the middle of the summer when it's 100 degrees outside, they would find $1,000. Everyone can get their hands on an investment to get started with Premier. It's available. They might have to work at it. Some will have to work harder than others. They might have to do the Premier card or put it on one of their own credit cards. They might not have it sitting in the bank. That's okay. I didn't either. I had to use credit to get started with my business. But we know, you and I know, we're going to help her make that back so quickly. It's not going to matter. Okay? So, once you ask her that, take the money off the table, find out what the real objections are, and then you have something to work with. Well, I don't know if I know enough people. Well, that's an honest concern. All of your concerns, you're going to agree with her. Now, we could sit and go over objections, but this is something I want you to work with your sponsor. I want you to take the time to meet with her, to do some practice one-on-ones so she can help you with the closing. Okay? Following up and closing is the most important part of this. The information about Premier is very simple. We can all share it. We have so many ways that we can share it. We can share it through our opportunity brochures and just flipping through this. We have the app that's on the Premier website that you can download onto a smartphone or a tablet. To be able to just use a flip chart type app. You can even print that and put it in a notebook and flip through it to tell the information. It's not really the information that's going to make the difference. The big difference maker is following up, answering her questions, making it personal, helping her to see her way into Premier. From there, you're going to continue then to work through that. Then we've got all of your questions answered. So what I hear you say is if we can figure out your investment, you're ready to get started. And then you can move on to talk about investment options and opportunities. Okay, now you have followed up. We have started to work on closing. When you get to the place where you feel like you've answered her questions and you've asked all the follow through and follow-up questions, now you do need to ask a closing question. Well, when would you like to start making money? That's a very easy one, isn't it? And it's really to the point. I love it. Again, I've learned that from someone else. I think it was Sadie Conway. When would you like to get started making money? Right away. Great. All we need to do is pick out a date for you to have your grand opening jewelry show, your training show, and we need to get your jeweler number through Premier and order your jewelry. Let's get started. And I think you've just done that very recently, so you know exactly where to take her. It's at the bottom of the Premier website on the home page, and it says join our family. You click there, and now they're going to fill in your name and jeweler number as their new sponsor. Is this exciting? Now let me address one more thing with you. You may be thinking, I don't know enough. I don't think I can sponsor. Guess what? We know that. Premier does too. We don't have a time limit though that says, well, you can't sponsor until you've done X number of shows, or you can't sponsor until it doesn't exist. The reason, you're going to run across ladies at every jewelry show that you do that might need a dose of hope through Premier. If you do decide that you do not want to invest time into helping another person get started, that is okay. It is not required. Then when you do these things to share the information at your jewelry show and you share the information with your hostesses and you don't want to sponsor, I know that your sponsor would be more than happy to sponsor that jeweler and help her get started. So that's okay for you to say, I have no interest in working with other people. But if you say, I don't want to sponsor because I don't know enough yet, or I'm not sure I could do it, you don't have to worry about that. That's why your sponsor is there. Do you know that because Premier's marketing plan is set up with 10-10-10 commission structure, that if I helped a new jeweler sponsor her best friend, I'm going to make exactly the same 10% commission helping her, the best friend, as I would if she'd signed up right under me. It's the same 10%, 1, 2, 3 levels deep. Wasn't Premier smart that way? So there's all kinds of incentive for us to help you to learn to share Premier with other people. Plus, let me just give you an idea of the potential. Let's pretend that over the next year you share Premier, and let's say that you actually sponsor 7 people. Well, 7 ladies who might just want to make $500 a month. Maybe that's their goal. Very, very simple goal. Sell $1,000 worth of jewelry, make $500. Well, you're going to get 50% commission off of the wholesale, which is the other $500. So now you're getting $50 times 7 jewelers. That's added another $350 a month to your income through commission checks. Plus you get a training allowance when they come in, when you do their training show and their initial training. And we have this video series set up to make this simple for you. Raising and caring for children or caring for others in your home. It's okay, you're going to have time because we're going to help you with this training series. So that potential can grow. Not to mention, you're going to have won quite a few $100s worth of free jewelry by achieving different levels like Rookie Team, where you sponsor 2 jewelers and do 12 shows in your first 6 months. That is the first goal I would love for you and your sponsor to take on together. And then we can help you move on to builder and designer and get to go on our next designer trip and have some extra incentives and just perks with Premier. It's a wonderful place to be in Premier as in leadership. Well, we love you. Thank you for taking the time to go through this video on how to share the love of Premier and how to share the opportunity.